Hi everyone, how you going? It's Dr. Rich McLean. You know, that crazy guy who's the pedophile and the rapist and the extortionist and who's totally delusional. That's me. It's pretty profound what I'm going through. You wouldn't believe that a conspiracy to pervert the course of justice is happening. It's documented by authorities, but no authority is prepared to cross the floor because it'll cost the government and other agencies and powerful people their jobs, and it'll get me over $6 million. Have a fucking listen. Now, this is Dave. He's from Dandenong Mobile Support Team, and he's tasked as a nurse to get in contact with me and come to my home, and he's supposed to acknowledge my mental health concerns, and he's supposed to care for me. It is within his remit to care for me. And he represents Dr. Annabelle Wyoming, I think her name is, and she's my treating psychiatrist who's missing in action, and David is his name. I don't know his second name. And also this implicates the other treating staff members such as Linda Davis from Dandenong MST, and I must mention Dylan Darmage, the psychiatrist who's the registrar. He's actually been pretty good in that he's now acknowledged and asked HCF and AFCA and the workplace minister Danny Pearson to get back to me, because it's indicative that their refusal to acknowledge me and blacklist me is causing me harm, and it's affecting my mental illness. Now, there's only one way that can go, two ways that can go. First of all, AFCA has to acknowledge Dr. Dylan Darmage as a medical professional, and that medical professional has now stated as fact that AFCA's inability and HCF's inability to even communicate with me and to redact all my prosperity is causing me damage, and it's undermining my mental health. That's a report from a treating doctor who's involved in my care. And I salute Dylan to be courageous enough to send those emails. What that's done is create a situation whereby these companies and institutions are liable for the harm that's happened to me, and that includes a suicide attempt, which was deemed fatal. It implicates them in the damage that is done to me, and it describes in detail how their continued non-acknowledgement of me is causing me harm. Now, I absolutely know what's happening for me. I am me. I know what's happening for me. I've got a self-reflexivity beyond compare, and the powers that be, including Dandenong Mobile Support Service, or Mobile Support Team, are absolutely being unethical in their non-acknowledgement of my distress. And further, they're causing me harm because they're not providing me with the medication that I need because I've got a diagnosis. Now, Dr. David Horgan diagnosed me with ADHD and praised my treatment on ADHD medication, dexamphetamine, because it was proven with facts and demonstrable things to be a really great benefit of my life. Now, while I was on dexamphetamine treatment, I did a master's degree. I wrote and illustrated a children's book and fundraised for the Royal Children's Hospital. And I went on then and completed a doctorate degree, and I've got my PhD. And in addition to that, I published a book, which was a narrative on my entire life's work with art. And I then went on, started my own business. And from my own business, I ran my own business for 2 years, and that was before I was blindsided by a conspiracy that devalued me and really caused me that my work was not to be acknowledged, and it was ineffective in helping my clients with their VOCAT cases when my own VOCAT case had failed. It's a pretty wild ride. Have a listen to Dave, the treating nurse from Dandenong MST, coming into my home just before. I acknowledged to him that this conspiracy is occurring. The service has acknowledged that this conspiracy is causing me harm, and there has to be an end date to that. Like, it can't be made to go on. I've given Dave evidence of the conspiracy to pervert the course of justice, which victimises me and which goes all the way to the Office of Prime Minister and Cabinet, and is directly linked to my relationship with former ASIO employee Steve Isonides, who I was engaged to. And in addition to that, it's also framed by my malpractice case against the GP, Dr. Whitaker, and his lawyer, Mr. Ball, was a powerful lawyer who informs government policy and advises the Ombudsman. Now, I'm a failed whistleblower at the Ombudsman, and he informs that service. I also, in my whole 50 years, have not been able to get a lawyer, and this has caused immeasurable detriment, financial loss, the loss of all my property and my possessions, and it's caused my health to suffer. Now, I went on to say to him that if I die, if I kill myself from this vile victimisation, in which I've been scapegoated from the entire Australian community of lawyers, politicians, and even my family, then the coroner is going to have to investigate the reasons for my death. And I've already published on my website the reasons why I'm victimised, how they've done it, how it's all linked up, and that is going to be provable. It's provable now, but if I die, they're going to have to investigate it, and Dave of MST will be complicit in that conspiracy because of his refusal to act. And Dr. Annabelle Wyoming, I think her name is, Wybell, my treating psychiatrist, will also be implicated. So will Linda Davis, who refuses to acknowledge me or my issues. And basically, I'm left with nothing else in the world apart from me and my beautiful dog. Hello, Crystal. She's awesome. I'm pretty good, actually, compared to what's happened to me. I'm pretty chipper, and I'm in a good mood because there could be a way out for me today. Now, this is the thing. Dylan Darmage even emailed Workplace Minister Danny Pearson and said to him, there's an injustice occurring, and that injustice is that his work cover hasn't been paid, and it wasn't paid. Now, there's two parts to that. The federal court is satisfied on evidence that I provided them that I, an employee of the DSS. However, the government knocked back my work cover because they're saying I'm not an employee for the purposes of the SRC Act. So the government said no, and then they had a government lawyer, Kate Watson, to defend that very statement. And it took 2.5 years, went to the AAT, and I predicted that I would lose this way back in 2021 when I emailed Michaelia Cash, because I'd lost $1.5 million settlement at the Australian Human Rights Commission, who now refused to acknowledge me, and also that I was banned from AFCA, and that led to over $2 million in deficiencies of payments that I would have otherwise been paid. Now, yeah, it's a pretty wild ride, and I'm pretty well. I'm just chipper. I'm just publishing my findings and expressing myself, because the one last thing that I have in the world is sentience. It's all I need. I'm very grateful for it, and I will win either way, and I will win with your help or without your help. Now, what's happening now is that Danny Pearson's office, oh, actually, I must mention Miranda Holt. She's from GuideStar. She actually helped me by acknowledging to Danny Pearson's office my injustice, and so did Dylan Darmage. And now the government, Danny Pearson's office, the Workplace Minister, has called WorkSafe, where I was banned from contacting them, and they called me and said there's a potential settlement that hasn't been paid, and we're working now to get it resolved as quickly as possible. This is a different tone to it than me trying to get compensation, rightful and just and fair compensation from many places. It means that the government has now done a 180 and it's coming from the top down to me, and they're trying to sort out my issues. So on the premise of that tone of what's happening, you would think that they're aiming to try and get me a settlement of some sort. And the settlement's regarding a 2004 impairments benefit claim, and that's with Northwest Area Mental Health Service regarding a psychological injury I had at the time, psychiatric injury. And it's different this time because I am actually considered a worker for the SRC Act, so they can't use that one on me. And in actual fact, there was a injury at that time from the incredible stress and having to face a mental health system which didn't acknowledge me and I couldn't gel with. And this is provable in my video that I'm just about to share with you. Now, if that impairment benefit is judged by DXC, the insurer, as being 100%, then I'm going to be in receipt of over $730,000. And that's a lot of money. It's also the only money that I've ever got, you know, in all of my injustices. And it seems to me that this is different this time in that the head honchos in the government are now saying, well, look into it, sort it out as quickly as possible, because the government are well aware of my injustice, and every public service official who's paid over $500,000, who's high up in the government, are not going to dob on their mates or cause issues for their peers by highlighting my injustices. It's as simple as that. It's about money. Now, I'm receiving that call today from Steve at WorkSafe, and if I get an acknowledgement that they determine liability, and even if I got a 10% liability, which is obvious, that would be $70,000. That would really be helpful for me. And you know what? It just remains to be seen, doesn't it, that will this conspiracy hold up to its brutal oppression of me, and will they find a reason not to give me this impairment payment? And further, if they do give me an impairments payment of some sort, will that be the end of it? We'll have to wait and find out. But for now, please lock yourself in your seats and have a listen. Here's Dave, a mental health nurse from Dandenong Mobile Support Team, and he's tasked to look after me and look after me framed by my mental illness and my concerns, which the mobile support team have acknowledged, but which he won't acknowledge. And he asked me what he can do, and I clearly outlined to him, this is what you do. You call HCF for an update, or you call AFCA for an update, or you call Gabriel Williams, the local member for Dandenong, for an update, or you report my human rights abuses by Tash to the Australian Human Rights Commission, or you ask the Office of Prime Minister and Cabinet about my freedom of information. You could always go and email Steve Icenides, the man who's underpinned my destruction, and just ask him, like, we've got the evidence that you were together and bank accounts in your name together, and you were together for 5 years working for ASIO. Gee, isn't it strange how you've been so silent this whole time? And did you know that you're causing him harm? Well, sadly, all the public officials and government agencies, come on, know that they're causing me harm. They absolutely do. They love it. And you know what? I love pointing it out, because if anything happens to me, they're all liable to be sued or held to account for their role in a conspiracy to prevail the cause of justice and the vile victimisation of me. Come on. That well could kill me yet. I'm just waiting for good news this afternoon, and if that happens, I'll be on Easy Street finally. Imagine that, getting paid $730,000. Wow. Well, it's an exciting day here for Rich McLean and Crystal the dog. Hey Crystal. And it's an exciting day in the prosecution and the persecution of people like Steve Icenides, former ASIO employee, Federal Minister Attorney General Mark Dreyfus, who refuses to acknowledge me, Tim Goss from AFCA, Liz Lindsberg from the Australian Financial Complaints Authority. It means that Sheena Jack from HCF is also indicted in this conspiracy to pervert the course of justice, and many other public officials as well, including lawyer Kate Watson, member Pennell at the AAT, because as we know, and as is demonstrated, my case is not impartial, my case has never been independent, and my injustice has been absolutely, the dice were loaded and it was framed from the top a long time ago. My name's Dr. Rich McLean, and I changed my name to Baron Dodger because I'm dodging the Baron in my life, you see, and I will dodge the Baron. And there's many ways you can look at wealth. You can look at wealth like you've got money, or you've got spirit, or you've got happiness, whatever you got, you know. I actually feel really wealthy and lucky, and I believe that justice is coming, and if it kills me in the meantime, they're all accountable to the coroner. It's Rich McLean, so have a listen to Dave from Mobile Support Team, tasked with looking after my mental health, to come and look after me and deny my medication, deny my justice, and act as yet another block to my injustice and victimisation, which has been years long and has literally already proven to kill me, in which I survived a suicide attempt and now have a cognitive brain injury, and that tragedy be covered up by all government agencies, and I've never ever received compensation. Dandenong MST's inability to absolutely get me a lawyer or get an acknowledgement of my pain is absolutely indicative of that my carers have also become my abusers. And it's a funny thing, you know, because healing begins where the wound starts. So if you have a look at this following conversation and you really realise that this is just another block, and they're only even interested in me because they're identifying me with illness and refuse to acknowledge that the exacerbation of all my underlying issues are actually elongated and emboldened by the very system that's supposed to be helping me. It's a pretty wild story, eh? And, you know, I've been framed as many things: an extortionist, a sex addict, a rapist, a pedophile. They'll do anything to try and silence me. And I was just explaining to Dave too about the apparent voices that are in my room overnight. And it seems to me that they're coming through my speakers of my computer with very derogatory statements. Faggot, rapist, pedophile, kill yourself, that kind of thing. I'm not worried. There's two possibilities. It's real, and that would mean that this ability of people to come into my room and target me and victimise me, and coming in personally to my room, is an invasion of privacy and civil liberties, or it means that I'm batshit crazy and I'm hearing these things. And you know what? I've been so victimised and such an elongated oppression for so long, and I've actually been diagnosed with schizophrenia and hearing voices, that there's nothing specifically wrong with that. Like, if I hear those things and I'm not worried about them, well, so be it. You can't lock me up for it. It's my illness. And if it's real, then that's a brutal indictment on the way that a system has identified me as a person of interest and persecuting me needlessly in a personal way that's damaging, that's vilifying, and which is reflective on everyone else in my life being absolutely non-existent. My brother, Brad McLean, my sister, Jodie McLean, or Bonjetti, my parents, Doug and April, protect them. I actually emailed my uncle, Bruce McMaster, a multi-millionaire who lives in Brighton, and he refuses to acknowledge me. I said to them, you could save a life if you get back to me. I could be dead. And I'm not sure why they're not more alarmed that I've already been moved to suicide and it covered up. And then they've acted when I've pointedly pointed out that they could save a life and I'm asking them to, it's not just about me being ignored anymore. It's about me being pointedly neglected by the people that are supposed to love me. And that's a real shame, because they don't understand what they're missing out on. They've got an amazing uncle, they've got an amazing friend, and I love them. It's just a shame that their ability to judge has locked me out of their lives and is putting me at risk. I feel saddened about that, but you know what? I'm going to win, and I've already won. Like, there's no doubt. If I killed myself tonight because of voices or persecution or victimisation or having no money or food or a place to stay or friends or family or anyone to talk to, I've already published this online. It'll be answerable to the coroner. There's no other way. Alive or dead, I will get my point across. And it's a sad thing that I'm having to publish all this on YouTube, because if you had a friend to talk to, if you had a family member to confide in, you wouldn't have to have a YouTube channel, would you? It's pretty wild, the amount of persecution and this toxic scapegoating of me has been incredibly efficient. And it's detailed by powerful people with wealth and privilege and with political power. And they've actioned and influenced the powers that be, and the powers that be being the political system and the legal system, and even up to my friends and family and everyone else involved, has now somehow turned to be my oppressors. I'm actually pretty good. It's a nice day. It's gorgeous, actually. And there's crows on the ground. I had some larks, so I think they were not magpies, but they were minor birds, and they were barking outside this morning. It was great fuss. How funny is it that that when the mental health nurse came to my house, he goes, "What do you do to have fun? Like, why is your life enjoyable?" And I said to him, "I like to get baked and fuck." How good is it? It's fucking black comedy gold. And he goes, "Well, I appreciate how honest you've been with me." I'm like, well, fuck. What do you want me to do? You know, and it's funny too, because when people are victimised and their human rights are denied and their worth is so limited and distinguished and reduced systemically by people and family and friends and stuff, you would turn to drugs, wouldn't you? But the reason I do is, of course, because my dexamphetamine's never been given to me. And it's been proven and praised by Dr. David Horgan that this is really important for me. So, you know, I'm living in a big fucked world, and I acknowledge that everyone else has got problems. I really do. They've all got their own problems. They don't have time for mine. But you see, if you tolerate this, you could be next. I'm a normal, everyday guy, and I'm kind. I reckon I'm funny. Millions would disagree. And I've got a doctorate. Now, you don't get to have a doctorate by not having some profound critical thought evaluated by a whole panel of people who are judging on your ability to critique society and to actually make a statement that contributes to knowledge. And it's really remarkable that this has been utterly swept under the rug, and even the university and Maureen Ryan and Karen Charman know what's going on, and even they won't acknowledge it. And that's what happens when you start to owe powerful people money, because no one who earns money wants to be responsible for calling out the conspiracy for fear of repercussions. And that's been a real problem for me, that no one will stand up for me. But now that Tash, my NDIS worker, has acknowledged that there's a provable conspiracy to pervert the course of justice, that I've never been able to access the law, and that I'm needlessly victimised and financially abused on a government level, on a personal level, and even on a private level in public companies, it's not sufficient that the Australian Human Rights Commission don't investigate that. And they've blatantly said to me, they won't. You wouldn't read about it. Anyway, it's Dr. Rich McLean. Whatever reason you hate me for, Feel free to hate, I'm not worried. You know, I'm the pedophile, I'm the rapist, I'm an extortionist, I'm a sadist, I'm fucking, you know, all these things which I'm argumentative. But you know what? If I don't argue this, who's going to argue for me, you know? So I'm standing up for myself. I'm here, I'm queer. I'm going to drink a beer, if I had one, later on. I'm here with Crystal. Crystal, come and say hello to the people at home. Look, isn't she beautiful? Oh, go and have a look. Ah, what a beautiful girl. And we love life. We love all of you. And, you know, at the end of the day, this is going to be exposed. And it's like already been exposed. And I reckon they're going to try and either frame me with a crime I haven't done or already admitted to, or they're going to try and lock me up in a psychiatric institution because they're saying that I'm delusional and crazy. But it's not me. I'm the right one. I'm the one with the ethics. Ethics means to do no harm. And great harm is happening to me. I did this in a doctoral study. I'm not an idiot. It is actually happening to me. Oh, anyway, it was a beautiful day. I'm just down near the creek. There's some ducks. Look at the ducks. There's ducks' lives going on. In death and life and everything in between. I'll be dead one day. This will be acknowledged. And justice will prevail. And if it doesn't happen in this life, framed by man-made law, it will happen by spirit law. And I just say, even if the ASIO came out and blew my head off right now, it's been an absolute pleasure to act as a catalyst to highlight all your deficiencies. And I've loved fucking all the people, and I've loved being in a family and society. There's good things, there's bad things, there's all sorts of things. And just now, it's just so beautiful, just walking down here. And even if I'm killed now, and that would be from the systemic victimisation and financial reduction of my prosperity, I'm a happy man. And I invite you to join me and share this video, because I'm going to share it with you in a minute. Here's Dave from Dandenong MSC. Supposed to be helping me. Not much fucking help. And that goes to the treating psychiatrist Annabelle Wyoming, or whatever her name is, Linda Davis, and all those at Dandenong MSC. The only people that care for me are people who see mental illness. They're not worried about my holistic health or things that are happening for me, and they're worried that their own hides are going to be damaged by sticking up for me. But by putting this video out there, their hides are already damaged because they're complicit in a conspiracy that's already proven to cause death. And that's a fact. Anyway, I am happy I'm alive. I'm glad they saved me. I didn't ask to be. But if I had died, mental illness would have been blamed. Absolutely not the case. It's a profound, elongated vilification and victimisation of me. And I'm a scapegoat. I am. I'm an actual fucking scapegoat. And I'm not sure whether to place responsibility on people or institutions or the government, or whether it's just this amazingly more cosmic inversion that's happened beyond what's real and probable and possible. I really don't know. But whatever it is, it's Rich McLean signing off. Have a fucking listen to this. This is how the mental health system helps me. It's a pretty woeful joke. I love all of you, and I've already won, even if I'm dead. Have a great day, everyone, and feel free to share this video, because like I said, I'm a normal person, and I worked for 30 years helping other people, and I need help now. And if no one helps me, then so be it. But I just want to say that if you're watching this and you think you're immune from prosecution, then think again, because I'm just a normal guy with incredible resilience and incredible talent, and I've got incredible determination and a stoic stubbornness for the annals of justice, which I believe should occur. And I'm still waiting. If you don't believe that this can happen to you, then you're wrong. And this could happen to you. And if you tolerate this, your children could be next. It's Rich McLean signing off. That's my sermon for today. Have a listen to this. It's fucking epic. See ya.